Janet Wilson, and I live in Roque-Coutier. I'm speaking today on behalf of Tama County Against Turbines. Last week, we had another example of the lack of communication between this county and its citizens. Before the supervisors meeting, a 2-mile stretch of X Avenue south of Dysart was closed. The people who live and farm along that road had no communication from the county prior to the road being closed, nor was anything posted on the county engineer's office Facebook page before we raised the issue at this meeting. There are at least 2 cancer patients and at least 2 heart patients who require medical care who are impacted by that road closure. Farmers were awaiting fertilizer trucks, and many were pulling in hydras. Farmers throughout the neighborhood could have made arrangements to get feed, fuel, and fertilizer deliveries before the road closure had the county provided notice. But the farmers couldn't because Tama County did not notify them. Delivery drivers knew nothing about it either. 30 minutes were cut from public comments and dedicated to department heads for reporting. Plus, the county engineer has separate time on your agenda each week to communicate with the public. Despite this, no one who has been impacted had any warning of the road closure. Could you tell us when Tama County contacted the Iowa 1 call before construction began?
That's all the engineer's office, I have no record.
We have seen no utility location markers along the construction project as of late Sunday, November 27th.
Janet, what are they doing to the road?
I guess they're raising the road, is that what it's
They're not
called?
doing any.
They're raising
So they don't
the
get
dirt
it.
road, I think.
They're cleaning
It's a-
ditches out, putting it on the road.
Well, I think they're,
Well, it's closed, so I didn't drive on it to go see, but,
Ordinarily.
what Lyle said last week was, they're getting a bunch of dirt from, wherever the,
Yeah. I don't recall either, but.
Yeah.
They're hauling it down there.
lagoons.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
they're-
digging out, and they got a whole bunch of dirt, and they're trying to raise one road someplace, I don't know exactly where.
Well, anytime they've ever done anything like that I'm aware of, South Town, they've always taken Tama County flags, put them along the edge of the road,
Yeah,
and
it was just construction.
just construction flags.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see, different colored flags for phone lines. And they didn't do any of that?
well,
Well, but if they're hauling in dirt, not digging dirt.
See, they're not digging dirt up there, they're just hauling in.
Then why they need to close the road?
They're not trenching it, digging it, ditches.
No.
Apparently not.
No.
well, I have not driven past the barricades, because I know Dennis
I'll go
Kutcher
ahead.
doesn't like when people
How long
do
of a
that.
stretch road is that?
It's 2 miles.
How many of these folks that have these
Well, we
health
have
issues are
we
on
have
that road?
4, there's 2
There are
heart
four
and
of
2
them
cancer.
In 2-mile sections of
In
the
that,
road.
yes. So, and then I don't know how many farmers, I know the poor elevators are going crazy now trying to get all of their, applications on, and so, just, it's a tough time of year when the freezing is gonna be coming for I feel bad for the elevators and the farmers. Farmers Co-op Telephone Company in Dysart just installed fiber optic lines and activated high-speed internet along that road bed this fall. And we didn't know if they were notified. Now, maybe if there's no digging, the county doesn't think they need to, but it would still be nice to just have a call and go, here's what we're doing, we're not digging, don't panic.
Or a postcard.
You know, just communication would be a good thing. The communication about the road closure is a lot like the way the Salt Creek Wind Project was approved by Tama County during the cover of COVID. The county did as little as possible to notify nearby landowners, residents, and the general public of the proposed wind project bearing down on their neighborhoods. We have learned a great deal in the time since. Taxpayers are better informed of our rights, and that's why members of our coalition have addressed you now for 32 straight weeks. Each week our coalition has brought information to you, and each week we ask you to do your jobs to protect public safety and property of Tama County's residents. We ask you to enact a moratorium on the approval of any future phases or any permitting of any commercial wind or solar projects. The moratoriums are necessary to pause any additional permitting to better protect the people who actually live and work here. Those moratoriums are necessary to allow time to research and get Tama County's commercial wind and commercial solar ordinances updated to reflect today's wind and solar technology, risks, and decommissioning cost. Your responsibility is to us, the people who live and pay taxes here, rather than rushing things through for outside developers who only want to disclose as little as possible to as few as possible to profit from Tama County's outdated ordinances. We commend the citizens of the zoning board for listening to taxpayers and holding a public hearing tonight, November 29th, on the need for a proposed moratorium on new commercial wind energy and commercial solar projects. Will any of you be attending tonight's zoning board public hearing?
I won't be, no.
That's too bad.
I have another meeting I have to be at.
You have another meeting?
I've never go to.
And so that's a reason not to go, is because you've never been to one?
That's my reason. You might not like it, but that's my reason.
I've got another meeting.
Because
But it's not only wind developers that are after it. They have customers that want it too, so put that into your mix.
well, I'm just saying, you guys worry about bias and staying unbiased. Unbiased means you do listen to both sides, Larry,
Yeah,
not just one.
well, remember that, yes.
Well, they will be there tonight too.
Yeah.
They will be there tonight.
That's fine.
Have you followed up with Todd Apple
I have
after
not.
you said you would?
I know I did.
You will direct him,
Email.
you will direct him to comply with the law to respond to the Freedom of Information Act request?
Get over it.
Well, we've had that problem too. Will you direct County Zoning Administrator Todd Apple to be present at the public hearing tonight?
No, I'm not.
Will any of you, will you? And nobody will. This would not be part of his job.
I don't
So
know.
In
yeah,
a
I said
normal,
I'm not
in a
gonna
normal
direct him.
world, it would be.
I'm not gonna direct him to go.
Did he call the meeting?
No, he did
No,
not.
he did not.
But it would be part of his job normally.
Had he called the meeting, he would
If he would've, yes, he would've called the meeting, he'd been there. But he didn't call the meeting, so he won't be.
So it's not part of his job then, to know what's going on.
He knows what's going on.
He's the chairman of the zoning board, right? The chairman, or
He's the secretary, department head.
he's the secretary,
Department head.
Department head.
department head,
Mhm.
and so he is over the zoning board, and they called the meeting.
Well,
They
Why
called the
wouldn't he-
meeting, not him.
Well, why wouldn't he be
They don't have
there
the
if
right to
he's
call the
the
meeting.
supervisor?
They do have a
You
right to
understand?
call the
Why
meeting.
will the auditor's office be coming then? If they didn't
because
call
that's
the
their,
meeting and they're
part of
coming.
their responsibility.
Well, it's part of your responsibility, that's just what we're saying, it's part of his responsibility,
Well,
even though he
that's a
didn't
matter of
know.
our opinions, yes.
We are the people who have been asking you to do the right thing for 7 months. We can assure you we are not going away until the commercial wind energy and industrial solar ordinances are brought up to date to reflect the increased risk to people, wildlife, livestock, and farmland compared to when the ordinance was developed nearly a quarter of a century ago. With 40-year high inflation, the cost of decommissioning wind turbines will only increase. So to protect taxpayers, the county needs to insist on ordinances that require developers to set aside ample decommissioning costs upfront in escrow at the time any permit is applied for, not 15 years down the road. All you have to do is look at the eyesore of the former Trader manufacturing site that is left in ruins to see why it's important not to listen to just outside developers. Instead, listen to your citizens. The county must provide the decommissioning cost upfront, adjusted each year for inflation, and not leave taxpayers holding the bag or looking at the eyesores for life. Thank you.
Doing the right thing is a matter of your opinion, but not shared by everyone.
You would like to do the wrong thing? That's what you just said.
Oh, Jim, come on.
Sounded like it to me.
You know better than that. Well, I'm not even gonna talk about that.
Bill, you said that they didn't have the right to call that meeting. They have researched very well that they did have that right to call those meetings, the regular meetings and the public hearing. So I think it's, you can't be saying that they didn't have a right to call the meeting.
I
They,
believe it,
they've
but
checked that very
they-
carefully.
Did we say they didn't have the right to call
I-
the meeting? They just said that they
Made a
had called the
mistake.
meeting, not Todd.
That's right.
They called the meeting.
Right. And then you said they didn't have the right to do that. They checked
did.
very carefully that
You
they did
probably
have the
had
right.
it.
Anybody else have anything?